Welcome Nilesh Bhai to Arthashastra Talks. Nilesh Shah is the Group President and Managing Director at Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company Limited. In his illustrious career, Nilesh Bhai has a unique achievement. In all the AMCs that he has been with, all those AMCs have earned the Best Fund House of the Year award. Along with chairing the board at Amphi till recently, Nilesh Bhai is a part-time member of Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister's Office. Really a great achievement, Nilesh Bhai. Nilesh Bhai, Team Arthashastra wishes you, family, and friends a happy Diwali and a prosperous year ahead. Many thanks, Nilesh Bhai, for accepting our humble request and helping us launch Arthashastra Talks, a talk show for our investors with a simple objective to share the financial wisdom from the leaders of the investment industry so that the investors are empowered to take more informed decisions. Nilesh Bhai, I have been listening to you since almost 15 years now, and I'm truly amazed by your visionary thoughts on why India will emerge as a powerful nation, and not many, including myself, could believe with conviction what you always used to say. But now it is panning out exactly what you had envisioned. India has emerged as one of the strongest nations, and especially post this COVID crisis, it is looking very obvious now. Though a lot needs to be done, as many sections of the society are still struggling with the aftermath. But as a whole, India has emerged stronger, and that has been reflected in the stock markets too. Nilesh Bhai, how do you visualize India 10 years from now and the correlation to the investors of equity market, especially with respect to our mutual fund investors? Can they still expect to make real growth in the future too?
Rajendra Bhai, generally stock market capitalization is function of corporate profitability, and corporate profitability in some sense is linked to country's GDP. If your country is small, then corporate sector profitability will remain subdued. If your country is big, corporate sector profitability will become bigger, and hence stock prices will go higher.
Yes.
Now, if you see our history, I think before Englishmen came to our country, we were one of the leading power commercially in the world.
Yes.
Between us and China, we used to contribute about half of global GDP.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the 150 years of exploitation by Britishers took away a lot of our wealth.
Yeah.
When we got independence, there was hope that we will catch up with the past glory.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we took certain steps which were more socialistic rather than progressive from a commercial point of view.
Yes.
Now, in 1991, we liberalized our economy, and it laid the foundation for stronger growth in the years to come. The journey which started in 1991 is continuously moving forward.
Yes.
And look at the transition of India. Earlier in our movies, villain was a black marketeer, whether it was Mother India, Roti Kapda aur Makan, or Kali Charan. Mehngai maar gayi was the dialogue, because we were high inflationary economy.
Yes.
Now our villains are terrorists, because inflation has become subdued.
Yes.
Today also, when people are talking about petrol prices high, they don't realize that our inflation is 5.3%, which is same as that in United States of America.
Oh, yes.
So this transition from high inflation to moderate inflation is laying foundation for better growth.
Yes.
In 1991, we had to pledge gold to get foreign exchange loan.
Yes.
Today, we are managing fourth largest foreign exchange reserves in the world.
Great.
Earlier, when pandemic struck India, we had to depend upon aid from outside because we didn't have money in our pocket.
Yes.
In this COVID-19, when we needed oxygen tanks, oxygen containers, oxygen plants, we were able to import. We were able to send our aircrafts and ships to bring them to India and solve our problem because we had money to buy.
Yes.
This shortage of FX to plentiful FX is laying foundation for better India.
Yes.
Earlier, Rajendra Bhai, when we wanted to travel from Mumbai to Ahmedabad or Mumbai to Bangalore or Mumbai to Pune, they
Yeah.
were long journey.
Yeah.
Now, those number of hours, if we can get out of Mumbai, has been reduced substantially.
Yes.
In my childhood days, Mumbai Pune was an overnight journey. And I remember getting stuck in the carts during monsoon
Yes.
time. Now, if I can get out of Mumbai, Pune is 1.5 hour to 2 hour away.
Yes.
We are moving from infrastructure deficit to infrastructure availability. We haven't become infrastructure surplus. There are certain areas where we still have to develop infrastructure, but by and large, we have become infrastructure deficit to infrastructure available. Now that is laying foundation for a better growth.
Yes.
We were earlier physical infrastructure economy. Now we have physical and digital infrastructure. There was one colonial news reporter. For 3-4 years, he was based in India. He couldn't find anything good about India. He kept on criticizing. Because he kept on criticizing, he was promoted to France. When
Yeah.
he reached France, his first tweet was that when I wanted to shift money from one bank account to another bank account in India, it was instant thanks to IMPS.
Yes.
The damn thing takes 3 days in France.
Oh.
The guy who was always criticizing India when he was in India, moment he was shifted out, realized how good India is.
Yes.
Now, this physical and digital infrastructure coexistence is helping so many problems to get resolved. We have shortage of quality teachers.
Yes.
In many schools, especially government-run schools, teachers who are teaching English themselves doesn't know English.
Yes.
But now with digital education, we can reach out to people.
Yes.
Now, some critics will say, oh, the poor guys don't have phone or they don't have network. But look at what they were and where they are. We
Yes.
can't resolve all the problems at the same time, but we have to make a beginning to resolve some problems.
Yes.
This physical to physical and digital infrastructure is laying foundation for India.
Yes. Yes.
Earlier, we had a shortage of capital. Rajendra Bhai, I don't know about you, but I didn't start in business like most Gujaratis will do
Yes.
because my father didn't left me with enough money. I had to survive by working.
Yes.
Now, today, my daughters, if they have an idea, they
Yeah.
don't need father's capital. They will
Yeah.
go out and raise money from venture capital.
Yes.
This availability of capital is blossoming entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Indians were trading with Africa, were trading with Java, Sumatra. They were trading with Rome. And that's how India became big.
Yes.
That's how India remained a major contributor to global economy for 1800 or 2000 years.
Wow. Yeah.
The same availability of capital with Indian entrepreneurship can create wonders.
Wow.
And apart from all this, there is one biggest mindset change happening.
Yes.
The government earlier was running many businesses.
Yes.
Now they are saying that government has no business to be in businesses.
Yes.
When Air India was under the leadership of Tata's,
Yeah.
I remember this incident reading in a book called Beyond the Blue Mountains by R.M. Lala.
Yeah.
Air India flight was landing in Zurich, and two Swiss people were talking to each other, and one guy asked another, what time it is? This was the days before mobile clock, mobile phones and other
Yeah.
watches, smart watches.
Yes.
The guy looked at the sky and said, it must be 12 o'clock. And he said, how can you be so sure? He said, I can see Air India flight landing from Mumbai.
Wow.
Now, that was the punctuality of Air India.
Wow.
If it had remained in the hands of Tata's,
Yeah.
they would have competed with Emirates, Etihad, and Singapore Airlines. It
Yes.
would have developed India's tourism sector. The incredible India would have attracted more number of visitors then the Louvre Museum in France.
Yeah.
Now, Air India, after getting funded for more than 100,000 crore, is going back to Tata's.
Yes.
It's a Herculean task. But
Yes.
do I have confidence that Tata's will restore Air India to its previous glory? And they will create a world-class airline, giving competition to Etihad and Emirates and Singapore, and help develop India's tourism sector? Answer is undoubtedly yes.
Yes.
This whole transition of India from high inflation to moderate inflation, from infrastructure deficit to infrastructure availability, from shortage of FX to plenty of FX, from shortage of capital to availability of capital, and most importantly, from government running all the businesses to government supporting public-private partnership, that has laid the foundation for next decade's growth. And I'm sure it will be far better than the previous 10 years.
Super. I gain a lot of wisdom listening to you, Nilesh Bhai, always. Nilesh Bhai, currently do you think the equity markets are in a euphoric zone, or should investors anticipate a 2008 like a crash, or how should the investors be better prepared?
In the market, there are two zones. One is a red zone where investors should be ready for a meltdown.
Yes.
And other is a green zone where, with reasonable confidence, I can say 2008 kind of crash will not happen.
Yes.
What is the red zone?
Yes.
There are few very good businesses where floating stock is very, very limited.
Yes.
And the holding is very, very concentrated.
Yes.
Now, these investors are long-term investors. They are convinced on the growth of business and they are holding their shares.
Yes.
Now, there are no sellers. And with very little buying, prices have reached very high level.
Yes.
Now, if the existing investors, because of very high valuation, decide to sell, there could be a correction.
Yes.
Otherwise, there will be time correction as new buyers will not come.
Yes.
And prices will stagnate for earnings to catch up.
Yes.
This red zone will witness slightly deeper correction, either time correction or price correction or both.
Yes.
There is another red zone where there are no businesses.
Yes.
Through circular trading, through social media push, through concentrated holding, the prices have reached to the moon.
Yes.
Now, once interested parties will distribute these shares to gullible retail investors who are chasing past performance, these prices will crash more than 2008 on an aggregate. Some stocks will fall 90% from the top.
Yes.
This pattern we have seen in 1992, 2000, 2008. We will see it in 2022 also.
Yes.
Now, this is where you will see a meltdown. Bearing these two pockets where a deeper correction is possible, where a meltdown is possible, rest of the market will see correction, but not a crash like 2008.
Yes.
Why will that not happen? Because rest of the market is supported by profitability growth. In June 2020 quarter, NSE 500 companies combined profitability was about 32,000 crore.
Yes. Okay.
In March 21 quarter, it reached almost 211,000 crore.
Oh, huge.
When profitability multiplies 7 times, obviously stock prices will grow.
Yes.
So in most of the market, we don't see big crash. Of course, there will be correction, there will be volatility, there will be up and down. And there is a small portion of market where we see a deep correction as well as meltdown possible.
Heartiest congratulations again, Nilesh Bhai. For the second time in row, you have been selected to be part of the prestigious PMO's Economic Advisory Council. Nilesh Bhai, I would like to ask you, can you briefly speak about the thought process that goes behind taking macro decisions for the economic reforms of the country? Especially, can you simplify for our investors the PLI scheme?
The government is focused on the economic well-being of country. Most political parties have now kept economic growth as part and parcel of their core manifesto.
Yes.
The problem, Rajendra Bhai, is not that we don't want economic growth. The problem is that we are not willing to take that tough decision which will guarantee economic growth.
Yes.
For example, when every party says that we will provide free electricity to farmers,
Yeah.
it results into wastage of electricity.
Yes.
It results into excessive usage of pumps, and
Yes.
which takes away water.
Yes.
It disturbs the commercial viability of electricity board,
Yes.
and the money which should have gone for healthcare or education goes up in subsidizing agriculture.
Yes.
You don't have money to invest for modernizing your power infrastructure, and hence there are power cuts. The quality of power deteriorates.
Yes.
What is the solution? The solution is to provide power to farmers at a fair price.
Yes.
There might be some subsidy for poor farmers, but certainly there should not be any subsidy for the rich farmers.
Yes.
Once you push people to pay a fair price for a commodity, they will not waste it.
Yes.
Then pumps will not run 24/7. They will run only when water is required. You will save water. You'll have money to invest in transmission and distribution, and also modernizing your power sector. The farmers will be guaranteed 24/7 power. There will be no power cuts. Now, everyone knows that this is the right way of supporting farmers, but there is short-term pain and long-term gain. Unfortunately, in our country, many times we have taken decision which gives short-term gain, but long-term pain. And that's why every other peer has outperformed us. When we got independence, many countries were behind us. In 1960, Korea and India had same per capita GDP. Today, Korea is 10 times bigger than us. In 1980, India and China had same per capita GDP. Today, they are 5 times bigger than us. It is said that even countries like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh has better per capita GDP than India. The economic decision making should be for long-term gain, not for short-term gain. Now, this is where PLI scheme comes into play. Rajendra Bhai, if you remember, many years ago, we launched Textile Upgradation Fund.
Yes.
The whole idea was to create textile capacity so that India can capitalize on textile sector.
Yes.
What happened in reality? Most of the proposals in the Textile Upgradation Fund was not appropriate, not commercially viable. The promoters came and set up plants at exorbitant cost. They siphoned off money offshore, and government paid the price, but the textile capacity was not created as much as the money spent. Net, Bangladesh has more ready-made garment exports than India. China, despite importing cotton and yarn from us, has more textile exports than our total exports. Learning from the debacle of Textile Upgradation Fund, government has launched PLI scheme. They are saying that if you produce, you will get incentive. If you produce more, you will get higher incentive. If you produce fast, you will get faster incentive. There's no incentive for setting up plants, so there's no gold plating. And more you sell, faster you sell, you get higher incentive. So government has ensured that PLI scheme is structured properly to do actual work. Number two, government has chosen certain sectors where India can become manufacturer to the world. Earlier, Rajendra Bhai, we were the largest consumer of mobile handsets in the world. We were importing yearly $8 to $10 billion worth of mobile phones. And there was a fear that as we move from analog phone to digital phone to smartphone, this number will go to $15-20 billion. Government invited manufacturers to set up their base in India. Today, world's largest mobile handset manufacturing plant is run by Samsung in Noida. We have become exporter of mobile phone. Now, in mobile phone, we are still at assembly level. But with the size increasing, the vendors of mobile companies are coming to India for making glass panels, for making rubber plastic component, for making PCB board, for making motors, and so on and so forth. Someday, we will also get chip making in India, and then we will reach much higher value addition in mobile handsets. This is happening thanks to PLI scheme. PLI scheme is expanded into auto components, bulk trucks and APIs, toys, electricals, electronics, and so on and so forth. In this sector, by providing appropriate incentive, India will catch up with, India will become part of global supply chain management. And this will expand our manufacturing base.
Super.
What Maruti Suzuki did with India's automobile sector,
Yeah.
where from waiting for 10 years to buy a car,
Yeah.
or having the same model for generations, we have moved to be a leading automobile player in the world. We are now exporting two-wheelers and four-wheelers and trucks all over the world.
Wow.
Same way, this will happen in mobile handsets, electricals, electronics, automobile, auto components, bulk trucks and APIs, toys, and so on and so forth.
Wow. Very nice, Nilesh bhai. Nilesh bhai, GST collections are now well over 1.3 lakh crores per month. How can this impact the economy or the country's fiscal situation in long term? Also, can inflation play a spoiled sport, especially the way fuel prices have been rising?
Essentially, Rajendra bhai, when we say we are situated in Asia, that is from a geographic point of view.
Okay.
Mindset point of view, we are still in Africa. There are many people in India who still don't remember that we got independence in 1947. They are still following Gandhiji's non-cooperation. So they don't pay their tax because they believe it will go to the British government. Now we have to educate them that by 75 years have passed by.
Yes.
We are in this Amrit Mahotsav of independence.
Yes.
When you pay tax in this country, it does not go to British government anymore. It goes to our own government.
Yes.
Our tax compliance or tax to GDP ratio is comparable to African nations.
Yes.
We have to move to Asian standards. And this is where GST has come handy.
Yes.
It has simplified rules. It was painful to, implement. But then, when you do Samudra Manthan, some halal is inevitable.
Yes.
Amrit does not come first. It comes after you absorb the halal wish. GST is improving tax compliance, and that is reflected into collection.
Yes.
The government has more money, and they are building infrastructure rapidly. They are providing vaccines freely. They are providing, gas cylinders freely. They are building toilets. They are improving India's infrastructure, healthcare, education, etc. because people are paying their fair share of tax.
Yes.
Have we reached Asian standards yet? Answer is no.
Yes.
We have some distance to cover, but hopefully we are in right direction where governments will have better tax revenue. They will spend on investments, and that will create a virtuous cycle of growth.
The government of India has taken a lot of reforms in the past few years. Nilesh bhai, which two reforms you think can have far-reaching impact for the growth of India?
Indra bhai, when you look, you focus only on the make of the car.
Yes.
You believe JLR Land Rover is a great car.
Yes.
But you also have to focus on driver.
Yes.
If you give me Land Rover, if you give me Range Rover, what will I do? I don't know driving. You have to give Range Rover to someone who knows how to drive. I won't be able to start a car. So don't focus just on the make of the car, also focus on the driver.
Yes.
That combination creates successful, driving experience.
Yes.
Same way, sector plus management, both are critical.
Yes.
If you are investing in IT sector, you need to back managements like Narayan Murthy, Shiv Nadar, Azim Premji, rather than, the Pentamedias and Square Ds of the world.
Yes.
Now, we believe there are certain sectors where good managers will be able to create wonders.
Yes.
The one sector is real estate, construction, and home improvement.
Okay.
Today, everyone is in need of a bigger house thanks to work from home.
Yes.
Housing prices have remained subdued for a couple of years, so affordability has improved.
Yes.
Interest rate on housing loans is at 6.5%.
Yes.
Our own Kotak Bank offers that.
Yes.
And most importantly, because of RERA, consumer interest and developer interest has aligned.
Yes.
Put all these things together, we are in a scenario where housing sector will do well in years to come.
Okay.
Because of lockdown, I haven't repaired my house.
Yes.
Somewhere there is a paint required. Somewhere tiles are needed to be replaced. Somewhere fence AC needs to be replaced. So home improvement also not only will see primary market growth, but also secondary market growth.
Yes.
Now
Okay.
put these things together, real estate, housing, construction and home improvement
Yes.
across tiles, paints, electrical cables and wires, consumer durables, cement should do well in the years to come.
Yes. Yes.
The second segment where we believe there will be good opportunity is industrials. For
Okay.
last 4 or 5 years, investments have taken a backseat because of the leverage in corporate balance sheet.
Yes.
Now leverage has come down and fresh investment plans are being made in certain industry.
Yes.
Sugar, cement, steel, they are leading private capital expenditure.
Yes.
But we believe other sectors also will follow over a period of time.
Yes.
And industrial companies, capital goods companies will benefit from expansion in local market and also exports market.
Yes.
So all those industrial capital goods company, which is covering both local and exports market, should do well again in the quarters to come. So
Great.
industrial capital goods and real estate home improvement, these are the two sectors where we remain bullish.
Superb, Nilesh bhai, as always. Nilesh bhai, there are no free lunches. What risks do you envisage in this journey of India, and how do you think investors need to be better prepared so that they take optimum advantage of India's growth story?
Biggest risk for investors is their own exuberance,
Yes.
their own psychology. In March 20, one of my colleague had called from his family doctor's clinic and said, Nilesh bhai, jara iske saath baat kar le. The doctor said that, look, I have invested in stocks and mutual funds, and with this correction, I am very, very annoyed. I can't sleep peacefully.
Yes.
I want to sell everything and move money into bank deposits so that I can sleep peacefully. Now, those were the dark days. Markets had corrected. We had no idea what COVID-19 will do. We were in lockdown. I just requested that gentleman that, sir, right now there's a lot of negativity. Why don't we take a decision after 3 days? After 3 months, sorry. He didn't listen to me and probably sold out and moved into bank deposits. After 3 months, he called back saying that, Nilesh bhai, what return I will get in bank deposits over 3 years? This market is delivered in 3 months. Now, what should I do? I said, sir, you wanted peaceful sleep. You should sleep peacefully. You have already achieved that by putting money in bank deposits. Markets will do well, but you don't have the temperament to witness volatility. And hence, you will always buy when markets are up 100%. And you will always sell when markets are down 30% or 40%. You are not having temperament to play cricket, don't play it. If you don't have temperament to play the game, you should not go there. Like Rajendra bhai, I will never go into a boxing match because I'm not fit for it. Why should I go there? I will rather play chess where I'm probably capable of giving a good fight.
Yes.
So we have to know our limitation and play that game which is suitable to us. I can't go to boxing match saying that my neighbor has won a boxing game, so let me also go there. I mean, I'll be crushed, I'll be dead. So play according to your temperament, play according to your risk profile. That is the most important thing which investors should remember. For economy, there is only one risk. Will we live up to the expectations of people?
Yes.
Today, market is looking to India optimistically. Based on all the factors I talked about, market is hoping that India will deliver to its potential. The performance will be matching its potential. It won't be like our T20 World Cup campaign right now where we are performing way below our potential. So as long as we deliver on expectations, on potentials, I'm sure everything will be fine. But investors must control their exuberance.
Talking about risks, I foresee one move and need your valued comment on it, Nilesh bhai. We saw very good deal wins this quarter in the crypto space, and Ganpati Subramanian, Chief Operating Officer at TCS, recently commented. His comment is another indication of the rapid growth that the cryptocurrency industry in the world is witnessing despite the uncertainties around the regulations. What are your views on crypto as an asset class for investors, Nilesh bhai?
I'm no authority on crypto. I am also learning like most people. Now, how do you uh, value crypto? Because there's no underlying thing.
Underlying thing, yeah.
So it can be valued based on conventional matrices.
Yes.
Now, there are certain observations on crypto. One, it allows a person to move money from one regulation to another regulation with below the radar of regulator.
Yes.
Now, will there be illicit money operating in cryptos? Answer is most likely yes.
Yes. Okay.
Number two, in cryptos, you are inherently believing that someone will buy this crypto from me at a higher price, even though there is no underlying value.
Yes.
If you are not sharing that belief, you can't be investor in crypto.
Yes.
And you also have to remember that if tomorrow the world starts believing that there will be no buyers of crypto at this price, the prices will correct quite big time. Number three, safekeeping of crypto is a big issue. Every day we hear someone lost money because his key was missing, because his hard drive crashed, or in few cases just exchanges disappear.
Yes.
So safekeeping of crypto is an issue. Number four is the transaction charges.
Yes.
Many times transaction charges are upwards of 10-12%.
Wow.
Now, with that kind of high impact cost, one needs to really worry. Put all these things together, is there a final word on crypto? Answer is no. But I remember reading about one crypto where it moved from $8,000 to $5.7 billion in 400 days.
Wow.
Now, if making money was so easy, everyone will make cryptos only. No one will do any other work. Now, this cannot sustain. So, my feeling is that if you want to invest in crypto, please treat this as a high risk, high return gamble and put that part of money, which, if lost, will not impact you adversely.
Nilesh bhai, Diwali is celebrated as the return of Ram Rajya in India, which certainly personifies welfare and happiness for the society. The stock market seems to be celebrating the same. What advice would you give to your kids which can help them create lots of wealth and always celebrate abundance of joy and happiness?
Spirit of Ramayana, where Bhagwan Sri Ram asked Lakshman to go to dying Ravan
Yeah.
and learn from him.
Yes.
So there is something in Ramayana which probably has not been mentioned by Sant Valmiki or Sant Tulsidas, but I am adding it. Lanka was city of gold.
Yes.
Ayodhya, there is no mention of city of gold.
Yes.
Now, how did Lanka become so rich? So I believe they became rich because they were investing like Kumbhakarna.
Okay.
Kumbhakarna used to wake up once every 14 years. So whenever he'll wake up, he'll go and make investments and then go to sleep. And after 14 years, his wealth would have multiplied a lot.
Yes.
This is my hypothesis. This is the way to make
Very well.
investments.
Very well said.
Be a Kumbhakarna on investments as a long-term investor.
Yes.
Now, when I say Kumbhakarna, I don't mean you invest and go to sleep. You have to observe it, but
Yes.
give it sufficient time so that they deliver return.
Yes.
Every investor must remember three commonsensical things.
Yes.
આપણામાં કહેવત છે ટીપે ટીપે સરોવર ભરાય.
Yes.
Little drops of water make an ocean.
Yes.
So regular savings will help you achieve financial freedom.
Yes.
Number two, utavra so bavra, dhira so gambhir.
Yes.
You have to invest with a long-term horizon.
Yes.
આંબો પાકવા માટે બી 12 વર્ષની રાહ જોવી પડે.
Yes.
How can investments deliver sweeter return early? So
Okay.
be a long-term investor.
Yes.
And third, don't put all eggs in one basket. Diversify.
Yes.
Don't invest everything in equity because last 18 months it has delivered 100% return. You have to invest across debt, equity, real estate, commodity, and offshore assets to create a diversified portfolio.
Yes.
So be a regular investor, be a long-term investor, be a good asset allocator. That's more than sufficient to get financial freedom.
Superb, Nilesh bhai.
And as you can hear, there is a sound of azan coming in the background. So even God is saying that what I am telling is truth.
Great. Last question, Nilesh bhai. Even after starting from such an humble background, your amazing success is an inspiration to many of us. Nilesh bhai, what are the three things that give you ultimate happiness and the energy to keep excelling? And how do you spend your leisure time?
When I was engaged, my wife was a professor in college, and many a times we used to go to restaurant. We'll wait outside, and then one of her student will come and give us a place to sit. We'll go to watch a movie, and we'll be standing in a queue, and one of the students will come and give tickets. There was so much respect for a professor, and I always wished that one day I will be recognized like this. Now, how do you gain respect of people? Well, you gain respect of people if you add value to them, if you are humble, if you are able to serve them.
Yes.
Now, over the years, this is what has driven me. In my profession, Rajendra bhai, I'm getting paid adequately.
Yes.
But મારે તો દુઆ બી કમાવી છે.
Yes.
How do I earn dua of people? I have to serve them.
Yes.
I have to give them right advice. I have to ensure that they become richer.
Yes.
And I'm not doing this selflessly. I'm doing it selfishly because by doing all such these things, my business also grows.
Yes.
So I'm in the best situation in the world where I'm not only making money, but I'm also collecting good blessings from people.
Yes.
That is what has driven me all throughout my life. When I was standing outside a 5-star hotel other day, and this is era of social distancing,
Yes.
and one kind of slightly aged husband and wife came. They were standing little far away from me. I was wearing my mask. My wife was wearing mask. And from there, they said, Nilesh bhai. And I said, ha sahib. He said, thank you.
Great.
તમે ઘણા પૈસા બનાવી દીધા છે. Now, the joy which you get, the blessings which you get when you hear such things, that is the kamai of our career. That is the kamai of our work.
Yes.
આમાં કહેવત છે, અભિમાન તો રાજા રાવણનું નહીં ટક્યું. તો આપણે કઈ વાડી ના મૂળા. આ માર્કેટ છે. We better be student of the market, never be the guru of market. We have to remain grounded, because moment you have ego, you will be smashed to the ground in no time.
Many, many thanks and heartfelt gratitude, Nilesh bhai, for your invaluable time. And I'm sure this talk will be a great launching pad for Team Arthashastra in our efforts to help our investors gain financial wisdom and to attain peaceful investing. Thanks, Nilesh bhai, again.
Thank you, Rajendra bhai, and wish all your viewers a very happy Diwali and a prosperous New Year.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.